Welcome back to Three Guys, Two Footballs. This is Nick. I'm back with Matt and Felix. We're happy to be back after the fun we had last week. And, a lot's happened this week already. There's always so much to talk about when it comes to the two footballs. And we're going to start in a different place this week. I want you guys to use your imagination for once. So I'm going to get Matt and Felix to do it too, and I'm watching both of you, so
I'm ready.
make sure you do it.
Does it
close my eyes?
Does it close?
You got to close your eyes. They already knew. This is how well we know each other. They already knew what I was going to say.
Whenever Nick says close our eyes,
Close your eyes.
something good's going to happen.
Not while we're recording. So, close your eyes. I want you to think of one of your favorite Hollywood movies, because I have this story in mind. We're in our mid-30s now, let's say, in this imagination land. We have a family. We're in a good place. And I hope what I'm about to say happens to none of you who are listening, ever. But your family gets taken.
Oh, take it.
Now you know where I'm going with this. You gotta get your family back. And so what you do first is you gotta find the people who took your family. And you find some guy who knows where your family is. Let's say this guy's name is Marco. Maybe he's from Tripolia. But in this case, so we don't get sued, he's from Bucharest. You find Marco. You kidnap him, you take him to an empty warehouse, strap him in a chair, and in your best Christian Bale Batman impression, you say, "Where are they?" I'm not going to do it, because I don't think it'll come off. But you say, "Where are they?" Obviously, because criminals have some false sense of pride, he's not going to tell you. So he says nothing. So you say it again, this time with a bit more verve to it. Still nothing. He spits in your face. So you leave the room, and you know what comes next. You got to torture the information out of him. So you stand there and you think, what's the best way to torture this guy? I could electrify him. I could bring a knife out and intimidate him. Normal people don't think about torture. Like, we don't either. But I have the perfect solution for how you torture this guy. You come back in the room, you turn the lights off. You open the door, and like they used to do in high school when it was movie day, you wheel in a TV. You turn on that TV, and you put on the Canadian men's national soccer team, and you make him watch. And I guarantee he will tell you everything you need to know so you can find your family.
Yes.
And the way I figured this out is because I had the pleasure of watching the Canadian men's national team take on Honduras on Friday. And it is the worst piece of garbage football match I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know. There's so many things I could say about Canada's lack of a strategy, their lack of a passing game, their lack of everything. I mean, to start a game off by passing back on the kickoff and then immediately hitting it towards goal. I mean,
sky high.
Yeah, it's sky high. I thought we were back in the house league, soccer league we used to play when we were kids, because that's the last time I've seen something like that. And it was absolutely atrocious the way they played. They played a 4-1-4-1 formation, whatever that is. They had Tiba Hutchinson, the household name, sitting back, trying to help the defense mop everything up, winning the ball, and immediately playing long ball to no one. To Laren up front, who's by himself, who either missed the ball or exactly.
Oh right, Laren.
Yeah, Laren takes the ball, knocks it down, and gives it away. And that was basically the whole game. They were lucky to get one goal. They were lucky not to concede 5 more than they conceded. And what it really took me to was the comparison between the men's national team and the women's national team. And this is where I'll finally let Felix and Matt talk, because I've confiscated the microphone for the past, whatever it's been, maybe 5 minutes. Thanks.
Doing well.
I don't understand how on one side of the coin you have the men's team, on the other you have the women's team, and how the women can be so much farther ahead than the men. And I'm not saying because it's women and men. I'm saying that in the development, in the way they have developed, the women are light years ahead of the men right now. I don't know if they just got lucky, if players like Tancredi, Sinclair, Matheson all came up at a good time for them, and if they just, manage to get together at the right time and win some bronze medals and do well in World Cups, or if the development is just that much farther ahead that whatever the Canadian men's side is doing is nowhere near what the women's side have done. Is it coaching? Is it, it must be some sort of development thing for me.
Yeah. I think that it just goes back to Canada's lack of being able to develop and put the money into finding the right players. I mean, we were talking about we just rewatched some of the game, and Junior Hoylett is a name that used to be a name for Blackburn, and we were talking about it. I mean, at the time, remember he was an exciting player to watch for sure. Yeah. He was great for their team, but like Canada waits until the player is way past their prime. De Guzman, another guy who they missed the boat on. Mm-hmm. Both the better De Guzman,
the better one,
but. I mean, they just missed the boat on so many talented players that they just can't lure to their program because the program continues to be garbage.
Yeah, it's because every boy wants to play hockey and every girl wants to play soccer. That's how they want because a lot of the kids, you drive by a lot of soccer fields and most of them, they're like the older looking kids are the girls playing. So. Mm-hmm. Most of the boys are caught up in wanting to play hockey and got caught up in playing hockey, and I feel Canada as a nation or as the team, the developmental team, they should find a way of trying to entice the boys.
They need to. They need to do something.
Because it was shocking to watch.
It was
really
shocking.
I mean, they can't
right from the kickoff.
Yeah, right from the kickoff.
Like that was just unbelievable
away.
in a game that you have to win.
Oh yeah, it was a must.
That you have to win.
If you guys don't know, the way the table sat going into the game, Honduras was in second with 4 because they had a better goal difference, and Canada also had 4 points. Winner went into second with 1 game left. Obviously, that was Honduras. But Canada, I mean, they didn't put more than 2 passes together at a time. When they sat back to defend, every time they got 1-on-1, they got beat, and not from some great piece of skill from the Honduran player. It was just because he pushed the ball past him, or the Canadian player stopped running, which happened on the second goal with Danielle Henry. He stopped running, and I look at these teams and think, I don't see a Canadian man on that field who can do what Diana Matheson does for the women. I don't see a Canadian forward that has the same strength that Melissa Tancredi has for the Canadian women. Mm-hmm. And I don't see a leader like the Canadian women have with Christine Sinclair. They're missing all the key pieces.
That was one of the biggest things for me. I mean, they talk about names like Atiba Hutchinson, who seemingly played for 300 years in defensive midfield for Canada.
Yeah.
And then you have David Edgar, who had 1 goal against our United, for Newcastle, a decade ago? 08, 07?
Yeah.
Anyway, they talk about these guys like they're going to be the guys to, lead the team, and there's nothing. There's nothing out there.
No, there's no lead.
Like, don't have the players around. They're not talking to each other. It's just, it's in shambles. It may be the worst I've ever seen.
The simple, basic soccer, like triangles, you get the ball, you pass to that guy, pass and move.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch the whole game, by the way. The 5-10 minutes I watched was just enough.
It's impossible.
Well, I sat through the whole game, and there was no triangles. There was nothing.
Impressive.
I got so much passing game. Hollett trying to keep the ball for like 10 minutes with nobody opening up space to get the pass.
No.
Hoofing the ball right from the kickoff. That took me by surprise.
They did it twice.
Twice.
After they get scored on.
Twice.
They do it again.
Yeah.
What does that achieve? Because you just give them possession.
And that may have been the best chances that we saw in the highlights we watched. That was their shot on target.
The only chances they had in that game, besides the one they scored, which they were lucky to even get up close to the net. I don't know. I still don't know how they managed to do it. I still don't know.
Yeah, how they managed. And we were saying if they were lucky enough to get that first goal, and they should have tried their best to get to half, block it up, and then just shut it down. It's ugly, and we would have hated it if it was done to us.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you haven't made a World Cup,
it's a must-win game,
and your only World Cup made was '86.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go.
Let's go.
I mean, come on. Yeah. Do whatever it takes.
You gotta do what it takes.
And now they put themselves in an impossible position.
Yeah. And I mean, if you are thinking we're being a bit grim, I don't recommend you do this, but go watch the game for yourself. They play. Actually, they play tonight, and it'll probably be the same thing. And
what do they have to win by tonight?
They have to at least win by 5 or 6 and hope Honduras gets scored on. If Honduras draw or win, that's it for Canada. They're up. And they would deserve to be up. Based on the way they play.
Definitely.
Go watch them play against Honduras. I should also mention, they have 2 goals in qualifying so far. They played 5 matches and they have 2 goals. One came off Kyle Aaron's backside, and the other one came on Friday.
Oopsie.
Yeah, it was an oopsie goal. It was a real oopsie goal.
So that's a Canadian way.
Yeah, oopsie.
But
sorry.
in terms of the women, I mean, we look forward to those games.
Oh yeah.
In the Olympics, the World Cup. I mean, it's great seeing them play. It's so much fun to watch. So much fun to have pride in a Canadian soccer program.
Yes, because they don't play like amateurs,
and they should be proud.
Yeah.
But it's just completely the opposite.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's just I know there's not a lot of money for the program, but I mean they got to do something.
But we're a country with resources, and that's what I don't understand.
They got to find a way.
We have money. We have resources we could spend.
They have to develop. They have to get these guys. I mean, it would only take, a couple really truly talented guys.
That's the thing.
To get the young kids who are saying, "Hey, I want to be
like that."
So and so. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
That's it.
Even in you see a country like Honduras, not known for anything really, but they're always in the World Cup. Because they have enough
always
skill.
On the cusp. Yeah.
They have enough skill. They have 1 or 2 guys.
They had a great Olympics this summer.
Right. They always have a couple guys who can play. These teams like that, you only need 1 guy. Or a way of playing. But they have neither. So
that's the problem.
But I mean, in terms of El Salvador tonight, I mean, let's move on. If you want to move on to that.
Well, there was this morning, this very morning. I was gonna open the show and say the date and where we were and stuff. We're still in St. Catharines in Ontario.
We're still in St. Catharines.
It is Tuesday, September 6th. We'll work on that. Still, we'll get that next time.
2016.
Yeah, it's 2016.
Just want to get into
it.
We just want to talk because nobody listens to us.
Just want to start talking.
We need to get this out.
Yeah.
But just this morning, the El Salvador players they came out and they spoke about how they were asked to bribe tonight's match. They were being not to bribe. They were bribed.
Yeah.
And they released a tape of a man by the name of Ricardo. I believe his last name is probably pronounced Padilla. It's spelled Padilla, but I'm assuming it's Padilla.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Probably butchered it anyway. Came to them on Saturday while they were still in El Salvador and said, "Look, you guys win the match against Canada. I'll give you each $30 a minute to win the match. If you draw, it's $20 a minute, and if you lose by only 1 goal, which would pretty much ensure Honduras goes through, I'll give you $10 a minute to basically to make sure Honduras gets through." He was approached by a Honduran millionaire, and he was this El Salvador, what do you call it? Mail boy, really. He's he's the messenger.
I mean, CONCACAF. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, from the refereeing up. I mean, it's always been like that. There's no doubt that this stuff probably goes on, especially with lower teams like Honduras or even in El Salvador, a team that would be desperate enough to, for their money, right? But the fact that the story was even leaked today, the game day, match day. I mean, it's embarrassing, one. But in terms of the fact that they're bribing a team to win against Canada,
can you bribe a team to win though?
I was saying it before. It shows how much disrespect that Canada is getting in this situation. They can't even get to Canada to be
deservedly so after.
They can't even bribe Canada to lose.
No, they're going to bribe
the other
team to beat
El Salvador to beat them
because that's easier and it'll cost them less.
That's it. They think that's a better possibility of happening.
They're right.
Based on
so they're not wrong.
Based on the Honduran game.
Honduras game. Oh god.
That's probably when they made their decision. Like after that game, okay, we got these guys.
We got to talk to these guys.
We got to talk to them. Call up.
I'd have been like, save your money. We don't even need to.
We don't even
Mr. El Salvador.
Just that extra incentive, I guess, to make them. I don't know.
When the aim of the game is to win, can you bribe someone to win a game? When that is the aim of what you're going on the field.
To them, they don't. I think it's one of those things where El Salvador can go in tonight's game as meh. Why bother putting maximum 110% into winning the game?
Yeah, because they're up.
Because they're
way
out.
up.
Yeah, they're up.
They have no chance of qualifying anyways.
Yeah.
But if you throw that $30 a minute in there, It's an extra incentive for something to play for.
I tried.
I guess so.
For
I would.
$2,700.
Yeah.
That you didn't have.
Yeah.
So.
For winning.
I mean, it's
World
crazy
Cup,
that we're even that it's even a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's
like,
wrong.
it's just another kind of. I think it's just another embarrassment for Canada. I know we're being harsh on them, but like, it's. I mean, they make it to the final round of qualifying, somehow, and then they're gonna blow their best chance. Probably they could have beat Honduras. They should have beat Honduras.
Yes.
Even if they had drawn, and they still would have had a much better chance.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. It's just so depressing. It makes guys like us. I mean, we've been watching this for over a decade now. Really, I remember the one Gold Cup. I don't know if you remember this, either of you guys, but when we had a shot at making the final, and we played the States, and Eddie Hume. Remember Hume?
Oh.
He used to play for not Preston, but
I know who you mean. Yeah,
but anyway,
one of those.
Anyway, it was a crazy call, the offside call. Hutchinson was in the game.
Of course he was.
But anyway, it was just a blown referee call from CONCACAF. But since then, that's been our only claim to fame ever. And nobody would remember that. I barely remember that. But that was when I was a kid and actually believed in Canadian soccer. And since then, there's been not even close success to that. Unless we're looking at the women's game, of course.
Yeah, only the women's
And this
game.
is their best shot in probably a decade. You know, they have a chance to qualify in their own hands, and they just don't even. They come up with nothing.
No. Yeah, that's the thing.
They come up with nothing.
Absolutely
came up with nothing.
It'd be different if they had lost 2-1 and they put their hearts out. They poured their hearts out. They went up 1-0. They played solid defensively, but it just nothing.
Did none of those things.
Honduras should have blown them out. I mean,
No,
should have been. They shouldn't have even had a chance tonight. Canada with 2-1.
Oh no,
should have been 4-5-1.
And you got to look at.
Nothing.
I mean, they're playing Mexico. Mexico's won all their games. They got 15 points. Mexico's not gonna. I don't know why they even.
They don't need to try. They're going to play. They're going to play BC squad.
Yeah, at least because they don't need. And Honduras just needs a draw. Guys, Canada's out. Let's be real. They're out. Even if they have that sliver of a chance. And I implore anyone who's listening to suggest that the women play the men. I would love to see the Canadian women's team right now play the men because they would run rings around the men.
They'd blow up.
And it would be great for women's soccer in this country. They would destroy.
100%.
Absolutely destroy the men.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the women are professionals and the men are amateurs, and I think that's all we really have to say.
Yeah, I think we beat them today. I mean, we'll see tonight. I said if they're up 3-0 at halftime, I'm going to stay up. Just to watch them blow it.
Good for you.
They'll go. They're going to go up 6-0 and then 6-1 at the end and blow the goal difference.
Damn it.
But anyway, all right. Let's move on to some real internationals.
Yes, and the next disappointment.
Yes. We're opening with disappointment.
England.
It's a sad podcast.
Sad podcast.
Very sad.
With England. Big Sam's debut. Boys, what did you think?
I don't think he did.
Exactly.
I don't think he did that bad. He made it. I liked his substitutions in the second half. It's hard to judge because Martin Skirtle's an idiot and decided Harry Kane was going to be his whipping boy and then stamped on him and got sent off. Mm-hmm. It's a dumb thing for your captain to do. So I think it's very hard to judge Big Sam on that. But although with Slovakia being down to 10 men, England didn't do. They kind of reminded me of Louis Van Gaal's Man United team. I don't know you, Felix, but
don't even put me back into that. I don't know. Big Sam, for me, right guy for the job. Not too sure. I mean, it's always difficult to play a team that's down to 10 men. Mm-hmm. It's always hard to try and break that down because now they're into more of like damage control. They don't want to end up a situation where they'll lose by goal difference, yada yada yada.
Right.
But for, like we were mentioning, Wayne Rooney dropping down into midfield to play with Eric Dyer and leaving that number 10 role empty before the substitution that was made. Of course, Dele Alli coming in and covering that spot, but
the right substitution. Though.
Yeah,
it's a good substitution.
But I love Wayne Rooney, 100%.
Yeah,
he has
legend
been
for us.
Great legend for us. He's been one of my all-time favorite players.
Always works hard on the pitch.
Scored the best goal of my entire life on my birthday. Great guy, but for Big Sam to come out and say, well,
let's talk about what he said.
It's Wayne Rooney. Who am I to tell Wayne Rooney where to play? is absolutely ludicrous. I do not know how as a manager, as a coach, as a guy who wants to show some power in the dressing room can come out and say a statement like that. Wayne Rooney also coming out and saying, I'm going to retire from international football after the 2018 World Cup. I have a big problem with that as well, because who says you're going to the 2018 World Cup?
Oh, he's going.
That's 2 years from now.
He's going because he's Rooney. But
yeah, he's going. I mean...
And second of all, why? Why come out and say a statement like that? Like, why?
I think he says it as some sort of motivation for the team.
Maybe.
Let's play this one for Root. That's what I think.
I think he's just trying to
keep the
fans off of him. Like, oh, no, just let me play. Wow. I'm gone in 2 years. Please let me play.
Well, probably, but to secure his legend, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But again, I think that's still the same sentiment. Let's get this one for Root kind of thing. Because he does no doubt have respect in the dressing room.
Of course.
I guess of the coach. I guess he,
hey,
I guess he sat down Big Sam at the beginning of the match and said,
"Look,
so I'm gonna play."
Yeah.
You know,
he kicked off Harry Kane off the corner kicks at the Euros without letting Hodgson know.
Yeah. Well, Hodgson,
but that was the right move.
It was the right move.
Yeah, it was the right move.
I mean, as captain, sometimes you got to make that call on the field. But I'm just saying, I feel England right now is a little bit is tied. Their hands, England is tied. Our hands are tied as England because you have a player who's good. He can still produce the goods.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point do you make that call to become an impact player, more to say, like a substitution player instead of a starter, for me? At what point do we get to that stage?
I know. For me, I mean, we were talking about how Rooney's had a really good start to Man U's season. And he has.
Yes,
he's worked hard. The whole team has, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, you know, there's been a lot of positives from his play there. But, I don't know, for me, I don't know. It just seems like he's why we say it's the same old England. Not because he's playing bad, but because he's in the lineup all the time. And he always comes up. Same old England. I'm not saying it's because of his bad play. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's just because Rooney's in there, and that just represents what we've had for the last, well, how long? Forever.
Yeah.
I mean, since we remember, right? Yeah. I mean, really. So I don't think that's Rooney's fault either. But I think that's how I probably look at it. It's like, Rooney's in there, and it's just like, I just feel like heavy when I see him in there.
But I'm looking at this qualifiers, and England has never really had a problem with qualifying.
No, that's never the issue.
It's never been an issue.
No.
Really. Except, what was that,
2008?
06 World Cup, when Beckham had to score the free kick against Greece.
Oh, that's even farther back.
Yeah, that was
2000.
Oh, yeah.
That was 2001.
Yeah, that was a tough,
2001.
yeah,
Right.
2001.
And then they'll make the Euros.
But generally, no problem.
Yeah.
Qualifying. But when we get to the big stage as England, what happens?
Performance
goes away.
Performance goes away.
Yeah.
It's like
there's no
nobody
setup.
Nobody knows what the lineup is. No one knows who's going to start. Is this the main 11, and then we're going to fit in the substitutions? We go, and that's where my problem is. When fine, we're good at qualifiers, but why not work on that now? During the qualifiers,
Yeah.
Instead of trying to figure it out, camp before 2-3 weeks before the big tournament happens.
That's the mentality with Rooney, with Allardyce's statement. Rooney knows where to play. It makes it sound like, and we saw it at the Euros, evidence that the qualifiers, they don't mean anything to team building. Clearly.
Yeah.
No.
It made it sound like, and Sam now echoed this, but Hodgson probably even more so, let's go out there, we have enough talent to beat the teams in qualifying. And they did.
Yeah, 10 and 10.
They did. They have enough talent to beat the teams in qualifying. No problem. But when it comes down to it, when they actually need to focus, they're saying again, let's rely on our talent. We got it through the qualifying, got us there before. This will be enough. And it hasn't been enough.
No, and it's the classic England, we're better than we think we are. What they do with, I mean, almost every young player that comes through, I hope they don't do it to Marcus Rashford. They do it to Theo Walcott. They've done it to Oxlade-Chamberlain. They've done it to Wilshere, to Callum Chambers, to, I'm just naming Arsenal players. But they've done it, and we do it constantly. A guy has one good game. Oh, he's got the talent. He's the guy. He's the future. I think maybe it's time to just get over. Like Wayne Rooney, he's just going to be in the squad. I like him in the deeper role. He dictates things. we don't have. Other than him, I don't really think we have a veteran presence other than him in the midfield, and I think you need that in some respects when you play with a young guy like Eric Dyer, who's probably going to be the other guy because he's so defensively good. So I think at some points you kind of need Rooney in that respect.
But that's the problem, though. Rooney is being allowed to play wherever he wants. Because you need that kind of player in Rooney, 100%. But the problem now is Rooney feels he needs to dictate the whole pitch. That way, leaving that space when he's playing the number 10 role. That way, leaving that space in the back when he's playing the number 10 role and neglecting that midfield role. So Rooney should have a clear-cut position. Rooney is going to be our engine room in the midfield.
So it's a strategy problem.
Strategy problem.
Yeah.
Groom Dele Alli now for that number 10 spot.
Yeah, which they should.
During the qualifiers now.
Yes,
not to figure it out 3-4 weeks before the World Cup at training camp. That's when we're going to figure out. Or during the friendlies before the World Cup, that's when we're going to try all these different formations. England played different formations all their 4 friendlies leading into the Euros. All of them.
Yeah. And then each game. And each game. And they still didn't fight it. I agree. Because I think, to be honest with you, I mean, why was Danny Drinkwater not in that Euro team? Guys like that. Him and Eric Dyer.
Yeah.
That's the center mid.
It kind of says a lot about Danny Drinkwater, though, that even Allardyce picks him now and he still doesn't get in the team. I mean, he doesn't get on the pitch.
I don't think it says about him. I think it says about not trusting these new guys. I mean, don't you think? I mean, Dyer, Drinkwater, Rooney ahead of them. That sounds solid to me.
I kind of agree, but then just me personally, I think Rooney is just too slow for that number 10, and if he is going to drop
No, not number 10.
What?
Just ahead.
Who?
Just ahead of the...
So you'd play like a 4-1-3-2.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, with Dyer or Drinkwater,
Dyer and Drinkwater.
Rooney in behind the number 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I kind of see what you mean.
Yeah.
I would probably be
like
better.
4-3-3.
I don't know if England are bold enough to do that, but...
Or 4-3-3. Yeah, right.
With Rooney.
Right, and then across the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're right, he's going to be in there.
Irregardless, it's about time Rooney has a set position. Jose Mourinho came out and said, Rooney is my number 10. That's what he's going to play.
Yeah.
He's not a 6. He's not an 8.
Yeah.
He's going to play this position. Put him there. England needs to figure it out and put Rooney in one spot.
Yeah.
And
just put him there.
Yeah, because it's just causing problems for all the other players.
And after the game,
we need to play.
He still came up again.
Yeah.
Oh, he's always going to come up. He's the media's favorite story right now.
Of course.
Yeah.
But because of all the indecisiveness.
Yeah.
If he's in one spot, players make it their own. Lampard and Stevie never made it that their own.
Yeah.
You know?
They
never, for so long. And they're just like, no, this is going to work. This is going to work.
And a lot of the time,
ever worked.
But a lot of the time,
Never
Lampard
worked.
and Stevie didn't get to make, because then they would throw in Hargreaves and they would throw in, Scholes was there before, and they would throw in these other guys to try him out. I think.
But they didn't
to
pick
go
one
with
of them.
No, that's what I'm saying. We need to pick one guy. He's there. He's Rooney's partner, or you play the 3 across and put Dyer there and Drinkwater and whatever, and get over it. Drop Henderson. Put Drinkwater in there.
Yes, Henderson. Why is Henderson?
I don't know why.
Drop Henderson.
Why is Henderson?
Lallana, fantastic. He played really well.
Oh, he was the man of the match.
He was
the
great
man of the match.
in the Euros too.
Yeah.
Kane, he is that number 9, but again, he's asking to do too much too.
Yes.
He's going to win those balls because there's no clear-cut number 10. Either.
Yes. Lallana, just to talk on Lallana for a second, he's the only guy I saw on the field on Sunday who had a brain. And that's another problem with England. They get to that final third, and they get that performance anxiety. Like, oh my God, what do we do now? We're right outside the box. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Find a cutting pass. Put it out wide. Put a cross in. It doesn't matter. But use your brain for once. And England don't use their brain, and then they go backwards, and they're like, "Oh, let's hope somebody falls down this time, and we'll have an easy path." But Lallana is that guy who found those creative moments. He was unlucky to hit the post. He was very deserving of the goal he had, and frankly, the only player deserved to score for England that day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think with England, it's always panicky because it's never good unless they get their first goal, unless they get a couple of goals.
Yeah.
Then everybody sits back because it's 2 goals. But when you start watching England, it's always like it's just panic instantly. It's just fear.
Oh, it's always.
You can see the fear in that.
I think
it's too much pressure.
There's so much pressure,
yeah.
which is definitely part of it.
Yeah,
yes, no doubt.
That
media. It's too much pressure.
that they can't ignore. But nobody's stepped up in over a decade and been like, forget about that. Let's settle down. Let's play our way, which is no way right now. They don't have an England way of playing.
There's no England way.
There's no England way of playing. Like Italy's known for defense.
Yeah.
Germany passing a ball around. Structure.
Yeah.
Spain, you know what they're going to do. They're going to pass it a million times. Look for that perfect play.
And England ruining.
England what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's
right.
That's all they have.
That's right. Yeah, because he knows what to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to pick on Rudy, but yeah. So moving on from the internationals. Moving on from the internationals.
Good.
We let's talk about the derby quick. I mean, we're all super excited. Manchester derby. Obviously, we're rooting for United, our team.
Yes.
In case new listeners.
No excuses.
No excuses. No Aguero for City. Big plus for us.
Yeah.
Huge plus for us.
Don't think that matters. I mean, they still have the rest of their team. I think you'll hear City fans blame the no Aguero, but it's Aguero's stupid fault for elbowing Winston Reed.
Yes.
And so,
I, for one, wanted Aguero not to be banned.
Yeah, I wanted him to play.
I wanted him to be banned for what he did. Shouldn't be in the game, 100%. But I wanted Aguero to play in this derby game. No excuses. No excuses for City. Big call for having Clattenburg as the referee for the game.
Huh, it's gonna get another tattoo.
and they'll talk
versus
about
Mourinho tattoo.
Yep.
The first Pep versus Mourinho. That's nice.
That's nice to have in England.
It's gonna be beautiful.
It's gonna be nice to see. I don't know. What do you think?
How do we think the game plays out? You want to just go to what's your call? What do you think? What's the score at the end? What's our predictions?
I think it depends on who gets picked for either team. I, of course, want to say Man U wins. I think it plays out one of two ways. Pep tries to drown out the game. Jose do the same thing. We get a boring 0-0 draw with a bit of feisty moments. Or Man U beats them 2-0. And I think Zlatan gets in there and scores a goal, and you see the new hat-trick king Marcus Rashford come on and score another goal. I don't think Rashford will start. I think he should start. Probably won't. But I see the game going one of two ways. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not nervous. I think we should win. And I do say I think we definitely should win this game. We have better players. I think we have better talent with the signings that we have. And I just think that we should win this game. I think we have the better manager, too.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of Pep. I don't like the way he plays.
Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah, right? I mean, we all think that. I mean, he's probably... I mean, I know people think Mourinho's obviously overrated. But Pep even more so, to me. And I'm not just saying that because Mourinho's ours now.
Well, when you don't have to build a team and you just give me
just walk in,
and a treble-winning Bayern squad,
right,
and then you're the best manager in the world.
Right. But I think we win. I think it will be tight. And I think we'll nick it. 75th past. That's what I think. Because I think it's going to be cagey.
I'm sorry, you guys are trying to be safe. I am completely going for an absolute blowout.
You always go blowout.
Zlatan, mark my words, everybody listening, Zlatan hat-trick.
Oh,
he has so much anger against Pep.
That's true.
He wants to punch him in the face. The writing is on the wall.
I love it.
He has been waiting for this moment since 2010.
Yeah.
I hope so.
The writing is on the wall. Zlatan hat-trick.
He didn't need to play internationals either, so...
He's fresh.
Zlatan hat-trick. Rashford comes on to finish off the game. Zlatan standing ovation to substitute it to his hat-trick.
I like it.
Rashford comes on, finishes the game. I'm giving you 4-1. Sterling with the goal first.
Oh, I like the goal first. Yeah.
All right, well, there you go. I like that. For anybody who's wondering, because I know we all had some trouble with this, the game is on Sportsnet. That might not show up in your Premier League fantasy apps. It's a 7:30 a.m. kickoff on Sportsnet. So don't worry, it is on TV.
Because we were panicking.
We were panicking.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah.
We will be there.
So we're going to switch it over to the other football now. We're going to, like we did last week, give a quick thank you to our two sponsors. On the Ball, again, if you haven't been, why haven't you been?
It's taking you so long.
Yeah,
it's almost the indoor
internationals.
season.
Indoor
internationals. Get some jerseys. It's almost Christmas. Go get your Christmas gifts for your son or your niece or your nephew or whoever. Go get those gifts. Go to On the Ball. They got everything you need. Wonderful people. Go there. And the other place is obviously Preston Pies. Another place, if you haven't tried it, go try it. Because it's the best food you're going to get outside the UK. The best steak pies, sausage rolls. You can get anywhere in Canada. that kind of outside the UK food. Don't take my word for it, because my family lives there. Go on and try lives there.
Yeah,
they do.
Because
That's how good it is.
Nice.
That's how
That's how
often
good it
we're
is.
there.
All
We
day.
basically
That's how
live
good it
there.
is.
No, my
That's
family
24/7.
owns it. Don't take my word for it. Go there and try it for yourself. And yeah, I know these two love it.
I do.
Oh,
I'm
the
not making
best.
them say
The
that they
best.
love
I
it.
do.
That's the best. I wish we had some right now. I haven't eaten yet.
Me too.
What? You want some food? I got food.
Only if it's Preston Pie.
Football.
Okay,
Yeah.
so NFL opening weekend. So excited for the opening weekend. Football is just, I just love this. The opening week, it's so exciting. It's like first day of Premier League season 2. It's just there's always storylines. There's always something going on.
Mhm.
Opens this Thursday. Rematch of the Super Bowl. Denver versus Carolina Panthers. No Peyton Manning this time. We're going with Trevor Siemian for Denver. That's Simeon. Let me just clarify. Simeon.
Yes.
Simeon.
Not Manning. Versus Cam Newton, arguably the most fun, entertaining quarterback to watch in this league. Minus Aaron Rodgers, because Felix is next to me in Green Bay.
I was about to start a riot.
But Cam, I mean, last season,
Of
top
course,
quarterback,
of course.
fantastic,
Of
course.
MVP,
He's
MVP
amazing.
season.
MVP
He's
season,
amazing.
yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. But in terms of quarterback, we'll get back to Simeon. But there was a few transactions this past weekend, in quick succession, and a few starters named that came as a huge surprise to me, and I think a lot of people. Let's start with Teddy Bridgewater going down for Minnesota.
Feel
Heartbreaking
bad
for them.
Feel bad for him.
Up and coming quarterback.
Freak injury.
Going into his third season. Yeah, non-contact practice
Non-contact
injury.
Yeah.
Players were seen, crying and like horror going off the field.
Get well soon from us.
Yeah,
for
Teddy,
Definitely
yeah.
get well
For
soon.
sure.
Yeah, we don't never like to see that. Really was looking to take a step forward, and so were the Vikings, and that's what led to their
Impulse.
impulse move,
Impulse. Yeah.
maybe panic move to trade first round pick in next year's draft, and a fourth, which could move up to, I believe it's a second, could be just a third, but anyway, at least a fourth and a first for Sam freaking Bradford.
You do.
Is there a bigger word than impulse that we can use to describe
Yeah.
that move? Is there something bigger than that?
just Bradford was going to be the eventual odd man out for the Eagles with them drafting Carson Wentz, and we'll get back to Wentz too. But he was most likely going to be, in the mix, if not starting week 1. Maybe they weren't in their plans after all. But Bradford, I mean, he's been around, drafted by St. Louis, very high, injury problems, hurt his career. Last year, he was average at best at times, I would say. Had some decent moments, but I mean, the team itself was rough under Chip Kelly last year. So, Bradford, I mean, I personally would go with Sean Hill, who is the backup in Minnesota right now, who is backup to Bridgewater. For me, it's kind of a slap in the face to him. I mean, why is he there if he's not going to start if Teddy goes down? And he is an established backup, And by established backup, I mean he can get you 500, and with a Vikings defense that is ready to take the next step, definitely could have gotten you to that 10-win mark, which is the benchmark for playoff teams, especially in the NFC. You got to get to 10 wins, or else you're not even in the conversation.
Yep.
So if they believe that Bradford, obviously they do, can give him a better opportunity, I mean, more power to them. But I mean, I think Bradford now has to start because you gave up a first-round pick.
That's
You
what I was
have
going to
to
say. Yeah,
you have to justify.
that's what I was going to say.
start.
That now they have
So
to
Sean Hill,
justify
he
giving
knows
up
the
a
writing on the
first-round
wall.
pick.
You have to because.
But then they're playing around right now because yesterday they were still saying.
Sean Hill was with the first team offense.
Yeah,
They're giving Bradford a day.
They're giving
practice.
Bradford.
He's got to learn the system. He's experienced enough. He'll learn it, no problem.
But at that point, you can't do that.
No,
Because now all eyes on you. You've given up your first.
they're trying to deflect.
Yeah. They're trying to deflect it. But you've given up your first round pick. Now it has to make sense. You have to show up. He has to play.
Definitely.
And he has
He's
to
gonna-
play.
he's gonna be there week 1.
Yeah, and he has to play well.
He has to play week 1.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if Bradford does anything this year, I'll be very surprised. I think they're going to run the ball with Adrian Peterson. He's still top. He's running out of years, not skill, but he's running out of years to do something well. This may be the best Vikings team I would say that he's been on. Last year they should have won. Blair Walsh missed the 2-yard field goal when Seattle won.
I'm surprised he's still alive.
Ice Bowl 2 in Minnesota.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. But they should have moved on after that last year. And they haven't lost many pieces. In fact, they've added. And they would have thought Bridgewater was taking that next step. He's not going to this year, unfortunately.
I think it's what you said. They they looked like a team that was ready to make a real challenge and be a really top Minnesota Vikings team. I from what I know about Sam Bradford, I mean he came into the league with some.
Oh yeah, he had pedigree.
People talked about if it had not been for the injury, people talked about him like he was going to be one of the next great quarterbacks. I just don't know why you would choose not to go with to say the evil that you know. Why not go with the guy who knows the system? Who, if like you say, he's an established backup, why not go with that guy? Why not let him do it?
He's been with you all camp. All training camp, knows the system, played all the preseason games, has started in the league for St. Louis, behind Bradford for his injury, by the way.
Yes.
Who is pretty much probably going to be motivated to play really well.
Yeah, this is his last shot. This is probably right out into the sun. Yeah. He's old quarterback, Sean Hill, but...
Yeah. No, he probably would have, he would have been happy to take the reins, and I think at some point you will see him take the reins. I don't think he'll play... I don't think Sam Bradford's going to make it through the whole season fit, and I don't think he will be the starting quarterback for that long.
I mean,
if he is the starter.
If Bradford's healthy, to me, they don't go anywhere past 8-8.
No.
Sean Hill or Sam Bradford. I think 8-8 is probably where they max out with this. I mean, I'll be surprised. They need some big wins to turn me over. If they can beat a top, playoff team, a couple playoff teams, that'll change my mind. But, I mean, we'll keep a close eye on that situation. Yeah. But the team that Bradford left, Philadelphia. Great deal for them. They gave up a ton to get first-round draft pick Carson Wentz. They gave up a first-round pick. They almost get that back, depending on where Minnesota finishes. Yeah. Great business for Philadelphia. But I would say, I believe it's way too early to start Carson Wentz.
So what I think about the Carson, and I'm glad you brought it up, Carson Wentz probably wasn't going to be, he wasn't going to be the starter over Bradford. They're probably going to go with Bradford. But as you said earlier, Carson Wentz is the future. I think this was a transition year for Philadelphia anyway. I don't think they were going to do much
new coach
in the way of going to the playoffs. They are transitioning. They are trying to learn new things. I think it's actually a great time to put Carson Wentz in. I think he gets to...
There's no pressure?
There's no pressure to make the playoffs. He gets to learn the system. He gets to learn the NFL with a bit of ease. Get used to it, get a chance to try some things out, make a few big plays, and come back for year 2 ready to go. I think if he doesn't do well this year, I don't think that's the end of Carson Wentz. I think if he doesn't do well next year, Carson Wentz will run into some problems.
I think that's how it should be, but it's Philadelphia. It's Philly. And they also signed backup Chase Daniel to a huge backup contract, $7 million the year they signed him for. So Wentz was supposed to be scheduled as number 3.
Right.
And they looked to trade Bradford before that, too. And that's why they picked up Daniel. It was going to be Daniel, Wentz learning from Daniel, who's an experienced backup, most recently for Alex Smith in Kansas City. But to me, Philly, this is also a pressure move. They gave up so much in the trade to get Wentz in the draft that now they have to justify that move. So they have to start it.
I just don't think you have to justify him this season. I know you're saying
no,
it's Philly,
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
but the NFL, that's how it is now.
I guess that's how it is in all sport. If you don't do it in one good season,
right? And that's what we were talking about with England too. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. You want to bring these guys along, but it's hard to keep Rashford, Ali on the bench.
Yeah.
But I think with Wentz, I mean, there's a good possibility that I mean, if he does just some things good, maybe they finish 6-10, 7-9. If they just do some things good with him, I think that will be good. But I just think he's going to get killed if he looks bad. And I don't know about a second year. Yes, he'll probably get that chance, but if they don't progress or build pieces around him and learn what he can offer, because right now they don't have a lot to give him in terms of offense.
He needs the backroom staff to help him out.
They really don't. Yeah. I mean, Matthews as a running back, he could go down tomorrow, very injury prone. They've got a couple young receivers, Huff and Aguilar, but they did nothing last year of any significance. They're really banking on next year's draft. And this year as a development year, I don't think it's going to fly with Philly. So, I mean, again, another situation. If he comes out and has a good first game, gets a couple wins, that's the thing. With a fan base like that and big fan bases, big markets, they're going to jump all over it and be like, "Oh, he's the next guy. He's huge. This is it. Bradford, we need him." We see it all the time. So, yeah. So I mean, we'll keep an eye on that. Other quarterback moves, quick. Sanchez dropped by Denver for Trevor Siemian.
Well, Siemian.
Oh, Sanchez is done.
And he got picked up by Dallas. Obviously, insurance for Romo. They're going to be going with Dak Prescott.
I'm really interested to see what Dak Prescott can do. Because he had a very good preseason, and he's got a chance already. A similar situation to Carson Wentz, but a bit different.
He's my backup on my fantasy.
I know.
Shocking.
I actually think it's a great choice. I think if he can come out and do something week one again. Dallas is the same kind of market as Philly. They're gonna jump all over me. He's gonna be the guy. You don't want Mark Sanchez to be your guy.
No,
you want Dak Prescott to be your guy.
It's a tough spot for him. It's a tough spot because he's looked so good. So everything's positive around him right now. I think it's going to be a lot of handoffs to Ezekiel Elliott. That's what I think. It's going to be 60-40 to 70-30. Because they have the offensive line. So
they do. I think that's the way they should go out.
I think that's the way they should go out. Little routes to Des Bryant, playmakers, Witten.
It's like going into the water. You ease yourself into the cold water.
And that division's horrible. That division's horrible. With Philly, with the Giants, who are also in a rebuilding year. And then with the Redskins, I mean, who knows what you're going to get with
When are the Giants not in a rebuilding year?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, so they still have a good chance. Again, all you want out of this division, if you go 8-8 that division, that's going to win this division. 8-8, 9-7. That's what won it last year. 9-7.
9-7. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, Dallas was still in it at 4-8.
I give Dallas a good chance of winning their. Winning that
and if Romo does come back and doesn't get
Tony Romo is finished. Tony Romo is finished.
Well, what do you?
Let's talk about Romo. I mean, I hate him. So anything you want to say about?
Well,
Romo?
Stephen A. I was listening to Stephen A. and he was saying.
Stephen A.
He was saying Tony Romo is finished, and I was agreeing with him. I mean, you're looking at a quarterback who's had 3 back injuries in 2 years.
Yeah, right.
And you still put him on your roster. He's no longer that guy where you can say, okay, with 3 or 4 games to go in the season, he can come back and maybe give us a final push. He's going to come back and he's going to break like glass right as soon as he comes back. For me, I think he's at that point where... I mean, Stephen A. said it better when he said he's got arguably the best offense in the division.
Oh, yeah.
Arguably best offense.
I would say that.
100%.
Yes, I would definitely say that.
Most talent. He's still... He doesn't have to do much, but he's still found a way to get injured.
In the preseason. Which is another mark for why is he starting in the preseason. What does he need to learn in the preseason? How to slide.
There's no point with the preseason to play your starters because there's so many injuries in the NFL. It's so
especially
so
Romo.
Bad.
Especially Romo. That's the thing. Especially Romo.
And Dak Prescott's doing great.
Why is Romo playing?
Attention's off Romo. Dak Prescott. Let him throw for 1,000,000 yards in the preseason. Nobody's even thinking about Romo. He comes out, everybody loves him again. And then no, they had to play him for his 2 sets, and he goes for a walk. And he gets hit in the back.
So I feel Tony Romo,
Grandpa Romo,
should call it quits.
I think if Dak Prescott progresses and they win, let's say they win,
might force him to call.
Let's say they win the division, or if they're by the time Romo's time to come back and they're in a positive record, 5-4, something like that, or even 4-4. I don't think they roll with Prescott, but I think at the end of the season, whatever happens,
there'll be a conversation.
I think there'll definitely be a conversation. Jerry Jones will sit down. Okay, let's.
You want to be a coach, Tony?
Because this division is theirs to take. They should have easily, with Romo, taken this division.
Oh, yes.
I'm talking 11 wins, 12. Yeah. He's with this division. They should sweep the other guys. 100%. But now it's all up in the air. That division is so bad, it's going to be great to watch.
Yeah, that's true. 100%.
But yeah, should we move on to our Bills?
Hey.
Our Bills. We getting some guys healthy back. We got some healthy guys back.
Yeah, it's nice.
Aaron Williams came back this
Chantrell.
week. Yeah, Chantrell. I had to say, Cordy Glenn.
Yeah.
We're getting some starters back. Goodwin. We might actually see him catch a ball this year.
Whoa, before he breaks his back.
Yep, again. I know. Another guy who they just keep hanging on, hoping he's going to stay.
1 catch. Broke his leg.
Yeah.
Marquise Goodwin.
That's it.
Everybody.
I know. I know. You just want him to be good. We always want him. Even remember that catch that wasn't a catch in that Kansas City game we went to?
Yes.
It was unbelievable. And we're like,
catch.
you saw the talent. And then not only wasn't a catch, you got injured.
Yeah. But you had to take it away from him, referee.
It's like he's the ultimate facepalm player. It's just, but anyway, week 1 versus the Ravens. Rex going back to where he had his most success as a defensive coordinator, and Tyrod Taylor going to where he actually won a Super Bowl as backup to Joe Flacco 2011.
The Flax.
So Tyrod still pretty close to the situation. Probably knows a lot of guys over there, along with our safeties assistant Ed Reed, legend for Baltimore's defense. I mean, Rex, he was passed over for Harbaugh when the head coaching job came up. Still a little bitterness there. Yeah, probably a smart move.
Probably a smart move.
Oh my god, I trade Harbaugh and I couldn't even count the second in between. How I would have made that decision.
Like that.
Yeah,
Get him.
would have been like, okay, Rex, see you later. But anyway, Rex is who we have. I would say I feel good going into this game based on our offense. I like Tyrod. I like Charles Clay, LaShawn McCoy. We have playmakers there. I really think we have good playmakers. So I think on our offense alone, and Ravens' lack of offense, Flacco, and then who you have? Steve Smith Sr., who's like 40.
Yep.
I mean, Crockett Gilmore, or whatever their tight end's name is, Ben Watson's
I don't give Ravens any
Justin
chance.
Forsett, he's old.
They
They just brought him back to the team.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of talent on offense for me, and I've never believed in Flacco. So,
he's a boring guy.
yeah, he's just kind of
there as a quarterback. I don't know.
The Super Bowl win gets him into that, like, oh, well, you're obviously going to choose Flacco over Tyrod.
Yeah.
No joke, I choose Tyrod over him today. For sure. I choose Tyrod over him.
It's an interesting call. I want to see them play against each other. I don't think Tyrod should think about not being able to be the guy in Baltimore. I think that kind of thing, they should just put that out.
Yeah,
no. Use it as motivation.
Focus on winning.
They could have transitioned with Tyrod.
They could have.
That's what I think. They're probably like, oh, darn. And that's what I hope comes out if we beat them.
But the Bills really need to get off to a winning start. We cannot afford, I say we, I'm not part of the team.
No, that's weird.
But the Bills cannot afford to lose the first game. A very winnable game. As you said, the back half of the schedule is very tough for
Very
Buffalo.
tough.
Way tough.
Very tough. Seattle, Bengals, Patriots with Brady. I mean,
It's a
very
tough back half. You got to get the wins when you can. Baltimore's a winnable game.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to happen now. I don't care how they do it. They got to win.
They got to win the game.
They have to win the game. I know the cliche must-win game, first game of the season. Everybody's 0-0.
Yeah.
But we're talking about this scenario, and this is what I am terrified. I am terrified of this scenario happening.
Frank Garoppolo.
If we lose that 1 o'clock game,
Jimmy.
If we lose that 1 o'clock game by whatever, it doesn't matter how we lose the game. We lose that game. That primetime game, Jimmy Garoppolo's Patriots versus Carson Palmer, Arizona Cardinals. If somehow Garoppolo can win that game, I don't care how they do it. If they win that game 14-13, whatever it is, if he wins that game and we lose and we go 0-1, they go 1-0, I'm sorry. I mean that's tough. That's like season defining week 1.
Week 1.
Now if Garoppolo loses and we lose and then Miami and everybody else loses, or even if Miami and the Jets win, I'm not worried about them.
No.
They're going to be bad. I have no confidence in them. So
bold statement.
both. I mean, Tannehill's not going to progress. I don't feel like he's the guy there. And Fitzpatrick, we know what we're going to get in Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Touchdown.
2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Yeah. He had a great year last year. Had a very easy schedule last year too. I don't think we have a shot at the division just because Brady's still around.
Of course.
If Garoppolo, however, goes 0-4, and we can manage to go 3-1, then we might want to start talking division talk.
There's a bit of a shot.
But it all starts with that week 1 game.
Yeah.
We have to beat Baltimore, and I swear to God, if Garoppolo wins that Arizona game, I mean, there are going to be people saying, here's another decade of no wins. If he wins that game, or goes 3-1, 4-0 in his 4 games that he has.
4-0.
People will talk, Brady will come back, finish off the season, but people will talk Garoppolo, they have him waiting, he'll step in. I mean, that talk will happen if he gets a week 1 win. And that's just something that I can't handle right now.
Well, we'll find out. We'll have to watch.
I mean, yeah, can't wait.
So,
I mean, games Thursday night opening, season opener, and then ton of 1 o'clock games. Primetime game, Garoppolo, Arizona. That should be a good one, regardless of
Garoppolo.
the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to watch that one anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. To just see how Garoppolo does, because if he's anything,
I think I'm curious. I'm curious to see how he does.
Oh, I think they'll get a lot of people in Boston will tune in to see what the future holds.
Yep. For Jimmy just being Jimmy.
Jimmy just being Jimmy.
Jimmy just has to be Jimmy.
Well, I mean, I thought his name was Frank, so maybe it was Frank.
I like Frank Garoppolo.
Frank Garoppolo.
That fits more with
I think he sounds like a mafia guy.
Yeah,
or something,
I know.
Like
you'd have to play for like
talk to Frank
the
Garoppolo.
Jets.
Hey, yo, Frankie.
Yeah.
He owns a car dealership. On the side in the back room, they're playing poker, talking about
Frank Garoppolo.
the New York.
He's the boss's son. He's a little Garoppolo. He's Jim.
He's Jim.
Oh, Jim.
He's not Jim. He's Jimmy.
Yeah,
Jimmy, go give me the meat.
It's Jimmy. It's Jimmy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see? I don't know if you guys saw this on the Patriots Stadium, Gillette.
Yeah.
They put up a huge statue. They have like this one lighthouse kind of spire thing.
Okay.
That represents like New England and all the sea town, blah blah.
Great.
Nobody cares about Patriots.
No.
They put up a huge thing of Brady on that
No.
facing stadium. Huge Brady thing. Just to be
put
like, this is our like trophy. This is our god, and like you guys can still enter his house. Yeah.
Did they put like a deflated ball in his hand?
I know they should have. Yeah.
You know, or him,
Definitely.
destroying throwing the cell phone to the ground or something.
Yep, definitely.
'Cause,
But yeah, I mean, it's just another arrogant Patriot thing to do.
well, Brady's a great guy. Well, he's not a great guy. He's a great quarterback.
He's a great quarterback.
You can't,
He's a great quarterback.
you can't
No
take that away
denying.
from him.
No denying.
But-
I still hate his guts.
No,
And he's made us suffer 16 years of pain. Not all 16 years, but
Yeah.
like 12 of them.
I mean, I love his wife.
No, that's different. That's different. That's different.
Do you want to talk about Giselle Bundchen for 5 minutes? 'Cause I could talk about her for all day.
No, I mean, let's look forward to this opening season. I think, I think it's gonna. I mean, every NFL season, there's storylines every week, just like the Premier League. It's gonna be exciting. I
Yep.
mean, I'm kind of interested to see what Simeon's gonna do in his opening game. I mean, if he can't be any worse than Peyton Manning was last year.
No.
So
Paxton Lynch?
yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that too. But
Or Austin Davis.
yeah, but guys, I think that's a good start for this week. Preview the NFL season. Let's look forward to the Derby Saturday 7:30.
Yeah, the speaker sound you're hearing that keeps going off. It's hard to explain, but we're trying to play a little intro music and outro music when we come on, and
Just can't get a speaker to
and
hold
the
on.
speaker just won't stay on. I don't know, maybe because it's not. I'll try to leave something playing quiet next time. I don't know, but it keeps. We're sorry for the interruption because it keeps coming on, and then I gotta try to turn it back on. And last week we went no music, and it's a whole mess.
But just thanks, guys, for listening to us too.
Yeah, please, check us out on SoundCloud. Follow us. We're gonna get a blog going this week. We got some articles we're gonna put on there. Eventually, Twitter and everything
Twitter,
will come
Instagram,
after that.
Yep.
But yeah, listen if you can. Like the podcast on there.
Share the
more
podcast.
followers. Share with your
Your
friends, your parents, your grandparents.
Hey guys, we know we're talking about very specific stuff, but we know there's a big audience out there who's talking like us too.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody who's into sports, I mean, hopefully you can steer them our way too. But
Yeah, please do.
thanks for listening to us, guys, and we're gonna leave you with
Our new favorite EDM song is the Rubber Chicken song.
the Rubber Chickens.
Yeah.
Rubber chicken.
See you guys. Have a good night.
See you guys.
All right. Good night.